He is correct. My name is Andrew Johnson. I flew all the way here. I'm not from Arizona, I'm from Minnesota, a small town in Minnesota. Let me give you an example of what kind of town I came from. A little small farming community. The local hooker is 400 pounds. Now, if you get arrested with the local 400-pound hooker, that's a felony, because in the state of Minnesota, anything over 275 pounds is possession with intent to distribute. Have her out on the hood of the truck. This isn't for personal use, sir. We have a narcoleptic farmer. If you know what that means, you just fall asleep. And you always know he had a narcolepsy attack because he's out in the field just doing left-hand turns. Not getting any work done, but he's enjoying himself. My father was a farmer. I'll give you an example of the difference between me and my father. My father was a tough man. He grew corn, he grew crops, he grew soybeans. He was always out in the fields. I live in an apartment because I'm afraid of yard work. I am a divorced dad of 3 adult children. I'll give you a rundown of what my kids are like. My oldest one is the safety captain of the family. That's my daughter. She's 28 years old. For purposes of this joke, she's 28. She might be 26. She might be 25. She's not going to watch the video. I wanted to take my kids camping. And in the Colorado mountains, it's the real deal. And so my daughter was very, very concerned about our camping trip. She called me up and she said, "Dad, this is the real thing. There are things in those mountains that can and will eat you if they get a chance. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, make sure that we're safe." First question, "Dad, a bear wanders into camp. What do you do?" I said, "That's easy. We'll make a bunch of noise, bang some pots and pans together. Chances are the bear will wander away. If not, we'll go down the side of the mountain together to safety." She said, "That's a great answer, Dad." Next question, "A cougar wanders into camp. What do you do?" I said, "If she's hot, I'll catch up." Now, I'm 50 years old. That would make her, as a cougar, about 96. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I probably would not talk about it in a family-run establishment such as this. My son, he is 25 years old, we'll call it that, 25. And he's a smartass. He's the smartass of the family. Now, when he was a senior in high school, I worked on the railroad. I was an engineer on the railroad. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But from the time my kids were very, very little, I always said the same thing to them: kids who don't get good grades go to prison. So when he was a senior in high school, I asked him how his grades were. I said, "Caleb," I said, "how are your grades?" He said, "Dad, they're fine. I'm on track to graduate. Don't worry." I said, "Well," I said, "you know where kids who don't get good grades go?" He said, "The railroad, Dad." He might be right, and I'll tell you why. I hold a record in a Colorado town on a small railroad for most derailments in 2 years. It stands at 7. They're not going to break that record again because some federal laws came in after I left that are probably pretty much going to keep it at 7. I'll give you an example of what it was like for me as an engineer on the railroad. And at night, sometimes we would have to go into a siding and wait for another train to go out of our limits. If that train was coming, they would call me and they would say, for example, "UP 7022, you got a copy?" And you would answer back, "UP 7002, go ahead." And they would say, "Well, clear your limits." Boom, okay, so now I can come out of the siding and move on. So this is exactly what happened. About 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm asleep, because you can sleep on the train. And they called me, "UP 7022, go ahead." I called back, excuse me, and I got no answer. They called again, I called back, got no answer. Finally, the third time, my conductor stood up and he said, "Man, you're talking into your goddamn pack of cigarettes." I am married. 8 months ago, I married the love of my life. Now, I'm a divorced father of 3. Okay, I'm 50 years old, and I was able to meet another woman, and I am so, so happy. She's not with me tonight, of course, because she's back in Colorado working, because I'm a comedian. She's doing a little bit of overtime. But whenever I do a show, she always sends me a text. Always sends me a cute text. Good luck tonight, honey. Knock 'em dead. Break a leg. You're doing great. Tonight the text said, you know I'm your biggest fan. And then right below it said, damn phone, I meant only. So when we got married 8 months ago, I had been single for 3 years. And I didn't have any pets. I didn't have any strings. I didn't have anything. And so when we got married, she began to bring things into the house. So we began to get pets. She came to me and she said, I would like a cat. Where are my cat people at? You're a cat person? No, you're not. Yeah, there you anybody else? Cat people? There's 0 of you. 0. And there's a reason.
It's a line.
She came to me and she said, I want a cat. I said, I don't want a cat, sweetheart. I love you. I love you. And I know it's a partnership, but I don't want a cat. And she said, okay, let's play a game. If I can convince you to say yes to the cat without saying yes to the
I got
cat,
no tips from your dance.
will you do it? I said, well, yeah. Yeah, let's play.
No dance.
5 minutes later, she came to me and she said, how would you like a VJ?
That's why
I said, what guy wouldn't? She goes, good, that's the name of the cat. I got fooled. But it wasn't the first time because we already had a dog named Threesome. And I'm ashamed to admit, a fish called Finger Up Your Butt. I'm not good at this game. Not at all. So my wife travels for work. So when I'm home, she leaves. It's a great marriage. We never fight. So when I'm home, she leaves and she travels for her job. So I am in charge of her animals. She's like Snow White. The animals follow her around the house. You know, they gather when she's on the bathroom. When she's in the bathroom, they love her. They are the light of her life. So when she's gone, she calls me to check on the animals. So the cat's got cat stuff. The cat's been gone for a week. The cat's on board. This cat in the entire room, it rubs up against the window. And there's a ton of ants out in the yard. Helicopter. Come on, banging it against the window. Get back up top. I hate the cat. And she says to me, how's the dog? Now I'm annoyed at this point. And I say, you know what? The dog kept me up all night eating peanut butter. She said, you're gross. I don't think the dog even likes peanut butter. I said, well, she really likes dick because I did not get any sleep at all. I'm Andy Johnson. Thank you very much.